Title: Food Justice. Text: with COVID-19 and increased loss of employment, more and more people are experiencing food insecurity. A masked woman in a grocery store reaches for oranges. Text: food insecurity is the lack of access to enough food, especially healthy and nutritious food. A person tends to a plant in the soil. Text: the Health Equity Program at the Social Justice Learning Institute provides residents with knowledge to improve health outcomes for themselves and become health advocates for the community. Nicole Steele, Social Justice Learning Institute, Health Equity Program Director.
So with health equity, for us that means making sure that people have access to food that is healthy, that is affordable, that is sustainable, that's culturally relevant. It's making sure that they understand what their community, like what the choices and options are in their community so that they can make the choice that's best for them. So that looks like education, making sure people understand, well, what is nutrition? You can hear anecdotal stories of people, everybody knows somebody that has high blood pressure or diabetes or cancer or, is just struggling with their weight and the low quality of life. And it's all related to the fact that we don't have access to foods that are healthy in our community.
COVID-19 has further exacerbated this issue and many families are experiencing financial difficulties more than ever. Low-income student, essential worker, and single mom Oriana Simon gives us insight on her personal experience.
So I have experienced food insecurity before the pandemic, and now that the pandemic is actually occurring, it's making it a lot worse.
Simon works over 40 hours a week at a warehouse with over 200 workers.
So I have to put myself out there and at risk just so that I can feed myself and my family. Families are really struggling out here with food insecurity, and we have to find different ways of supporting ourselves, whether it's making a small business or trying to promote ourselves and the services that we can offer people, or getting 2 jobs, 3 jobs. So it's hard out here. For me, I really didn't have a choice. It was either move out and move back home and have somewhat of a secure home to go to, or tough it out like many of the other families that are there and not pay rent, petition, protest just to stay with their children. So it's like fight or flight.
There's a high possibility families are experiencing housing insecurity. Food justice and health equity should equal housing justice, especially during a pandemic. Nusha, LA. Tenants Union student organizer.
Right now we're in the midst of COVID. A lot of people are either unable to pay rent right now or are concerned about being able to pay rent in the future. We're all going through a very rough time right now, and we don't need the stress of having to choose whether we should eat or whether we should pay our rent. It should really be a case of like everyone has a safe space to be right now, and everyone to the best of their ability is able to keep themselves and their family and their friends fed. So a lot of the work is kind of getting people to be working with the community and working collectively to address these needs.
LA. Tenants Union is organizing local community members to go on rent strike if they are unable to pay rent, as well as to show solidarity.
So we've been trying to organize people to kind of turn that situation that's a little bit more of an individual out of necessity not being able to pay rent into a collective action that is kind of politicized with a set of demands and turn it into genuine community action. The main kind of impetus for a rent strike is that the starting basis is more out of necessity. I literally don't have the capacity to pay rent right now. We all know that Westwood and Los Angeles in general are an incredibly expensive city to live in. And so if a lot of us are unable to work or are prevented from being able to work during this situation, or are having to deal with a lot of other crises that we maybe normally wouldn't have to, the already expensive rent is kind of an even bigger burden on us. The difference between me not paying rent and all of my neighbors not paying rent is a big difference. We're a lot more of a potent force that has to be acknowledged.
No! Shut down! Shut it down!
There's a broader goal of an actual rent strike is to kind of push into the understanding of officials like, hey, this situation is absolutely ridiculous. Like the situation that tenants and working class members of the community have to deal with is unacceptable, and kind of push for a genuine form of change in that power dynamic and in that relationship to like make a qualitative change to people's lives, not just stopping at the individual level.
The right to live.
SJLI recognizes that equity and health equity specifically, right, the right to just live is wrapped up in a whole bunch of social determinants of health. So you could come to all my nutrition classes all you want to, but if you don't have enough money to have a stable environment to live in, none of the things that I'm saying are going to matter to you. We can implore you to fill out the census, but if you're not sure if next week you're going to be in your house and your children are going to have a place to live, none of that matters.
Resources: Social Justice Learning Institute, sjli.org, Los Angeles Tenants Union, LA. tenantsunion.org. Food distribution sites: Open Door Skid Row Ministries, Central City Neighborhood Partners, Young Hua United Methodist Church, Feed Love LA. White Memorial SDA Church. Credits: Trisha Nicole Bautista, Director.